Hi and welcome to Scott's Inverts. I'm Scott, and in a second you're going to see an invert, lycosa Xijiang, all the way from the area in China that is known as Xijiang and around those surrounding areas as well, also known as a Tibetan wolf spider. Now, when we look at it online, there's not a lot of information out there at all because this species has yet to be described. So when it comes to life expectancy, we can only look at other spiders in the genus and kind of have an educated guess. So I'm going to put it out there and say that this spider is going to live for around 4 years, possibly 5 due to the size of it. But again, this is a complete guess. So what we do need is those scientists to do their research into this spider and get better information to us. In fact, if you've ever had one from Sling and you've grown it all the way to adulthood, I'd be really interested to know how long it was in your care for. Let me know down in those comments. But for now, I give you the Tibetan Wolf Spider. Spider comes from an area, Xijiang, indeed the area that it's named after in China, as well as the surrounding areas. Now, the common name is Tibetan Wolf Spider, and this one is your typical wolf spider look as well. It is a little bit larger. It does look a little bit like a tarantula there. The colorization, the carapace, absolutely stunning. Now, as I said before, there's not a lot of information online, so a lot of it is going to be guesswork according to the genus. So when it comes to venom, we're going to assume it's not as strong as something like a red fang or something like that. But those forward-facing legs tell us that this girl can be extremely quick, although I didn't see any of her speed in this video or the rehousing. She actually went across and not too bad. But what we do with when it's a species, something like this one, this is not described by science, is we take every single precaution and we assume they are the fastest spider on the planet. So we still carry on with catch cups everywhere and such like. Now, we'll crack on with the setup and I'll talk a little bit about the temperatures and the humidity. So we've gone for a 5-litre plastic tub and the dimensions are all there on the side of the box in centimetres for you guys just there. We've got soldering iron and put a ton of holes in the sides, as well as a lid. Now, the soldering iron, what that does is it stops any sharp edges. I really like soldering iron as opposed to a drill or anything like that, because the drills tend to leave you sharp edges. The soldering iron, as you can see, melts through the plastic, so it tends to leave that kind of curved edge as opposed to a sharp one. So the holes all around the sides are because we want to keep this at around 70% humidity. So I want half decent airflow through it, not overly, so we're not going to drench this spider up to kind of 80-90%. We want to be around the 60 to 70% humidity. This one is a terrestrial dwelling species, so we are going to give it a little hide for it to go down and literally hide them. But the substrate that we're going to be using is potting compost with no pesticides in there, and we're going to go for around 2 to 3 inches of depth. And you can just see this stuff that I'm using here comes out of the bag slightly damp, so that's absolutely perfect. Again, we don't want to over wet it because 60 to 70% air humidity is not drenched. We just want to keep that substrate ever so damp. That's perfectly fine. So I'm going to, every handful that I put in here, I'm just going to tap it down a little bit. And with all compost, you always find these little balls of compost kind of stuck together. What that is basically just bits of wood that haven't broken down properly. So all I do is mix that up and break them up into little pieces and just mix it into the substrate. It's completely fine. Don't panic too much. This potting compost that I'm using at the moment is really, really soft. It seems to hold together quite well as well. So maybe the next video I'll give you the actual name of it, and I want to try it out a little bit longer before I actually tell you guys this one's a good one. And again, found another little hard spot in the compost, so just broke it up a little bit and spread it out. This compost, I've been using it for a little while. I haven't found any plastics or anything like that like you normally do. So yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. We've got some pieces of cork bark, which I'm going to put in just like this. Now this one is going in on the edge. It's relatively flat, and I'm going to try and create a hide out of it. So I'm digging down the side there because I want to support it. I want to try and squish it across to kind of make a supporting wall, because as you can see there, I'm digging out a nice little burrow for our spider, but I've created that big indentation where my finger's just shown you. So I'm going to top that up with soil again, just to reinforce that wall so it doesn't collapse at any point. What I also do now as well is just add a little bit more substrate, because again, I want to give it a bit more of a naturalistic feel. And at the end of the day, where these guys come from, they're not going to find bits of cork bark just lying on the floor, perfectly shaped as a hide. So I thought, well, we'll keep the structure and we'll use it just as a piece of structure and put some soil over the top, and we'll carry on to kind of disguise it as we go along with this build. The substrate to the left is probably around 4 inches deep, so we have got a kind of an incline from high on the left going down to a bit shallower on the right, which is completely fine. Nature isn't flat. Bit more soil around the front there, just again hiding all that cork bark. And you know what's coming, because you all know that I absolutely love moss. So we put some of this moss in down the bottom. And again, that's literally looks beautiful, but its primary function is to hold water and slow release it. And it's one of the best things for it. One of the best things to help with humidity in our enclosures is moss. This is a piece that I've collected, took out the little dead pieces of grass in it, and it fits straight in as a lovely green carpet, looking beautiful. The moss not only holding humidity and looking fantastic, when the spider crawls across the moss, it will hopefully pop the colours out and make it look even more beautiful. But we'll find out about that towards the end of the video. Just putting some finishing touches with the moss in. Just at the front there, we've got, that's, I think that's a button moss as well as a sphagnum. Digging out the hide a little bit more. Absolutely perfect. Now, what I do kind of hope is that we give the spider a little bit of enrichment. Let me know down in those comments what you think to invert enrichment. So a couple of pieces of cork bark going on the very surface, as a lot you'd find on the forest, fallen trees and things like that. But I just think it gives the spider something else to walk on other than the soil. So you've got the soil, you've got the moss, and then you've got the little bits of fallen debris as well as. I hope it's an enrichment. Let me know what you think down in those comments. We've put in the water dish as well. And here we have just a little bit of spillage to the left. Couldn't find my spray bottle today, so we've gone for the cup. Now, we're going to fill up this water dish and overfill it. Now, the idea of overfilling it is that the corner there stays very damp, which allows for that 60 to 70% humidity across the whole of the enclosure. Now, with the moss, I'm just going to spray the moss now once a week and overfill that water dish up once a week. I'll probably put a little bit too much water on the moss to start with, but we're trying to encourage it to grow and as well as kind of bed itself in. So I want to kickstart it by giving it an extra bit of moss, but I will only be spraying it once a week and overfilling that water dish as well once a week. One of the daughter's makeup brushes I'm using here. She don't watch the videos, so she's not going to know. But here is our Tibetan Wolf Spider. Looking absolutely stunning and quite a large specimen as well. These are absolutely stunning. I'm going to assume, well, we think this one's an adult female. I did think it was going to do a runner at that point, so get the lid ready to throw on the top, quick time. But she does give me the run around. So every time I think she's going to come out, she just carries on going around her old enclosure. Well, the old enclosure that we bought her in at the spider show. Spin it around. So hopefully, come on, girl. I want her forward legs to be facing into the enclosure, because that's the way she's going to run. Gives you a couple of extra seconds to get the lid on if she wants to dart and come out. And in she goes. And yeah, pretty quick with getting that lid on and in place. Rightly so, because again, we're going to assume they're super, super fast. Those forward-facing legs. She's sitting on top of her water dish. Not drinking any water yet, but she's only just got into the enclosure, so we need to give her some time to settle down. But how beautiful is this girl? Their eyesight is absolutely amazing. They are a nocturnal feeding species. They're mainly active in the dark. But this girl seems to be wanting to roam around the enclosure in the super daylight as well. But again, those eyes for a spider are absolutely amazing. The eyesight is tremendous with this species. They actively hunt with their eyes as well. Just absolutely stunning. We do try and feed her, but I think because I throw it right in front of her, I don't think that's what she wants. I think she wants to hunt. So I'm going to get some smaller roaches and chuck them in with her so she gets to actually hunt properly. But just look, the abdomen and the carapace are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning spider. Boom! That was the Tibetan Wolf Spider. Let me know down in those comments if you keep true spiders yourself, or maybe it's an area of keeping that you've never looked at. And if that's the case, I highly suggest you do, because some of the true spiders, although they don't live as long as the tarantulas, some of them are very, very beautiful. And like this species, extremely active. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. And one last time, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me. It helps my channel out more than you ever know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, feel free to also give it a thumbs down. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. And as always, we shall see you again on the next one.